Hello everyone and welcome to Destiny 2, where we're going to be asking the question, can you beat the bunker E15 Lost Sector on Europa without using any guns? We're going to be running this on Legend difficulty, so we will have those extra modifiers, such as match game, extra shields, and of course the locked equipment, meaning we can't change our mods around, our subclass, or our weapons, which we're not going to be using anyway. If you don't know what a Lost Sector is, it's a little hidden away area on a planet where you can go in, sort of like a cave sort of area. There's a few enemies in there, and there's a big boss at the end, which you've got to defeat. And once you do that, the treasure is yours. The cool thing about these Legend and Master Lost sectors is that you have a chance of getting exotic armor if you complete it solo, which is what we're going to be doing. As you can see, here it is on the map. You can see all the information about the Bunker E15 Legend Lost Sector, but we're going to go over all of the modifiers that are in this Lost Sector. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Loading into this Lost Sector, I decided to go with the Arc subclass, because there is a seasonal mod right now in the Season of the Splicer which allows you to stun overloads with grenades, which will be very, very useful. I've also put every single piece of armor with a Discipline mod for that extra recharge time. Grenades are about 34 seconds on a recharge. Melee is very useful in this subclass because I'm using the middle tree, which means I can cast out a projectile-based attack with my melee ability. As well as that, I have a really decent range super, so I don't have to go up close with the top and bottom tree arc subclass. There's a lot of waiting around for the grenade to recharge, as I need to take care of the ads in the room before I deal with the overload in there. Otherwise, the ads will cream me while I'm trying to deal with the overload, or the overload will cream me while I'm dealing with the ads, which is something that I don't want to do. With some carefully tossed grenades, I managed to take out 2 in one shot, and get a third with the chain lightning. One saving grace with this subclass is the fact that you can get these little arc energy things, which will recharge your abilities, which helps on the waiting. As you can see, the overload champion is down there. There's nothing I can do without trying to coax out more of the ads, so it's good to go up close, but not too close. It's okay to back away until all your abilities recharge. It's worth noting that I am going to be speeding up some segments as I wait for my grenade to recharge. A lot of this is just waiting and trying to bait ads out of their hiding spots. For example, there is a Dreg hiding behind a rock, which I'm pointing to right now. And as well as at the start, there were some hiding behind that little set piece in the middle there. I know one of the ads is still alive, and I'm trying to wait for him to get out behind the rock. And as you can see, right on cue, there he is. Have a grenade, but unfortunately I aim way too high, but it doesn't matter because I still hit him and go for the kill. Now it's just the overload left in the room, and I don't have enough damage to take him out, because he is a boss type enemy with the yellow bar, so I have to wait until my super is charged to even stand a chance of taking him down. I do go down there to try and take him out and see how the overload grenades work. However, unfortunately, I do end up losing a life. However, I do get a double stun off, which is very interesting and pretty rare that you normally don't get a double stun off. I just wanted to test out the grenades because I've never really used grenade mods to stun overload since the very first season of the game, actually. So, yeah. Anyway, it looks like my super is nearly ready, so I'm going to hop down and try and sneak behind him. Hopefully he doesn't see me, and I'm going to throw the grenade and stun him, and hopefully this works. So there's the stun, and there is the super, and it is just enough to take him out. So once you've cleared all the ads in the room, the door up top will open, allowing you access to the rest of the Lost Sector. Now, this is where the main sort of gimmick comes in. You'll notice that the Vex modifier is Shocker, and from this point on, movement gets really tricky, because when defeated, goblins spawn arc pools that cause damage over time. This is great if you had a Risk Runner, however, again, we're not using any weapons, so we won't be able to do that. The downside as well is that we have incoming arc and aerial damage increase, so not only can we not jump over the pools for a long amount of time, we also take more damage by standing in those arc pools because of the increased damage, which is a problem. We need to stay as low as possible and avoid these pools. Fortunately, luck is on our side. With a well executed melee attack, we can break open this box which contains little robots. These robots are the only robots that will help you fight in any lost sector. This is the only lost sector that has these, and they will absolutely shred any standard rank and file enemy. When it comes to bosses, they're not so good. So let them take out the 4 goblins down there, and they won't spawn any pools because you, the player, aren't actually killing them or landing the final blow. Once you've cleared out the room, head down below and you'll be greeted with 3 goblins and a void shielded minotaur. The void shielded minotaur will cause some problems, but just let your robot friends take out the 3 goblins. You can use grenades to help these out, but I recommend saving your grenades until the void minotaur and using it on him, as his shield is very resilient with the match game modifier, basically meaning you need void, which we do not have and we can't exactly use. Obviously, be careful of the void shield minotaur's melee attack, as that is brutal, as well as the arc pools. The 3 goblins will spawn if you, the player, actually take them out. This void minotaur will take quite a while to defeat, so my strategy is to try and get him to focus on the robots instead of you, and go down there and hit him with your grenades or your melee ability when you can, just to take that little bit off his shield. It will take a while because it is match game, but eventually you will get to a point where you can take him out easily once the shield is down. If need be, if the minotaur gets too close, you can exit the room and go back out to the first little bit of the lost sector. However, just up on that ledge will do just fine. Now that his shield is taken care of, we just need to wait for our robot friends to take care of the rest of his health pool. You can help with the grenades and your melee ability, so I'm just going to melee him to death. Of course, be careful of his melee, as it is quite powerful, and you will not be able to survive a few hits. Just a point to note there, some people might have noticed that I can finish with the enemy. However, I'm counting that as a weapon because you use a weapon to do the finisher attack. Moving into this main room here, you have a box here and 2 other boxes to the left and right. You're going to need to maneuver around these goblins and break open the box directly ahead of you when you walk into the room. So these are a massive pack, and you will have to sort of hide around the corner while you wait for the robot friends to take care of them. You can throw a grenade to speed up this process, but you will have to deal with a load of arc pools once they all die, so just be wary of that. That's why I'm waiting back around the corner for a little bit, and I'm not going to use my grenade or melee until the herd has thinned out a bit, or they're in a corner, which they conveniently just bunched up into a corner there, so I can maneuver around that arc pool without any worries. Next up is getting to that cube up there, which I just showed you. You need to basically maneuver around all the ads which are currently trying to shoot at you and grab that. I do try grenade, however I aim too high and hit the ceiling, so I'm going to have to go up with that melee attack and avoid that hobgoblin there, which I successfully do, and that will unlock another 2 robot bodies. Melee that hobgoblin before he starts regenerating his shield and goes immune, and we are running a little bit low on health, but it should be fine because we have quite a couple of our little bot friends to help us out. There are 2 groups of ads which spawn in this room. The first are in there by default, and the second spawn in when you kill the first lot. This is a little bit of a suicide attempt, but I try and go for this box right at the front here, and I'm pretty sure that the ads start spawning, the second wave of ads start spawning. As you can see, they've just spawned in. The second wave comprises of this Cyclops, which is a pain to deal with, which you will need to hide and not go up close at all. It also comprises of 2 barrier champs, which is the first 2 barrier champs, and the only 2 that you'll see in this entire lost sector. So to take out the Cyclops, you will need to just wait it out for your bot friends to do. There is another void minotaur to take out, so you can use a grenade. As you can see, that Cyclops nearly killed me there. It gets even worse when he starts to malfunction and spits void everywhere. And remember that we do have increased void damage on our modifier, which isn't good. Jump up here really quickly just to grab this final box with another robot friend just for that extra damage before the Cyclops sees me and starts shooting at me. I think it already has there. I'm going to go around and try and defeat the Void Minotaur because it's actually taking up the two of these robots' time. So melee, grenade, and it should take out that shield just enough for them to finish the job. You may have noticed my super is ready, so I go round to try and take out one of the anti-barriers. I don't want to use it on the Cyclops because that would be a waste. The anti-barriers do deserve it more because of the fact that they will regenerate all of their health and the robots cannot kill it off. Unfortunately, the barrier goblin puts up his barrier and basically renders my super useless, which means I have to wait until it is fully charged again. But the only enemies in this room are the two anti-barriers and the Cyclops. I can't change what the robots target, so I will have to rely on their auto-targeting to try and take out the Cyclops. Now the Cyclops is panicking and it's spitting stuff everywhere. You need to take that out as soon as possible, like so. Now it comes down to the anti-barrier hobgoblins. There are two in the room that you will need to take out, and you will need to take them out as the robots won't progress with you. You can technically skip them, but you're going to have one hell of a time in the next room, which is not recommended in the slightest. Now, the eagle-eyed of you will notice that I actually do have the Lament sword equipped. Now, while the Lament technically isn't a gun or a weapon, I just feel like it's too cheap, so I fought against it. If I were to use a Lament though, these barrier goblins would be wrecked and it would make this challenge way too easy, as you can see here. You can see that I'm taking out the Overload at the start of the Lost Sector with ease, and when it comes to the anti-barrier champions, well, I mean, the sword is an anti-barrier sword. You're literally going to melt through them like butter and they will not stand a chance against you. And even when I did mess up the rev on my sword, you can see that the health regen capabilities are absolutely incredible and you will have no problem taking him out, even though I did kind of die. Back to the task at hand, and it looks like my super is nearly ready to take out this barrier champ who has been plaguing these poor robots for so long. They've wasted countless bullets trying to take him out when he's just going to regen. So this is going to be a tricky one because I'm at a weird angle. I need to take him out while he doesn't take me out. I throw the grenade and use my melee and take him out with a super. My grenade misses, but it's just barely enough to take him out. I reckon if I didn't get that melee off, he would have regened his entire health pool. Now it's time for the final room in this Lost Sector, and quite possibly the hardest room. This is the boss where the Hydra spawns, as well as a total of 4 Overload champions. Yep, you heard me right, 4 Overloads. Starting off, there will be a few goblins, as well as a annoying wyvern, which will cause you some problems. I recommend you just stay back and toss some grenades at him, just to weaken him. Sometimes he will focus on the bots, which is good. Obviously we can't use our finisher move to finish him early, so we will have to rely on our bot friends to take him out, as well as using our own abilities. Some goblins will try and get close to you. Just finish them off with a melee and you should be good. Just don't melee too many at once, because once they die you will be in those pools when you come out of your melee attack. I nearly die here and it was a very risky move, so I run back and pop a well just to be on the safe side. Now with all the ads defeated, it's just the wyvern that is left, and you will have to sort of try and kill it if you can. It's not ideal, but he will be a pain. You just have to deal with it. Once you've done that, you want to make a run for it out of that room, as a lot of ads will spawn in, and you will have to deal with them as they come around the corner, or you can also get lucky and get your robot friends to shoot them. I don't recommend engaging the boss just yet. one of the overloads will spawn in with this initial set of ads, so be careful of that. Have a grenade ready on standby, because the bots will shoot the boss and will not be shooting the overload, as the overload will just regen health. If you do enough damage to the boss will teleport away from the bots, causing them to focus on the overload champion, which is what we want to do. However, we do need to wait a bit before that happens, as it is a significant chunk of damage that needs to be dealt to the boss. When it comes to damaging the boss yourself, you want to get somewhat close, just enough so your grenade and your melee projectile reach. If you see him start turning around, run back and he will start shooting the ground, which will make it unsafe to go there for a while. My super is ready, but I'm not going to use it. Instead, I'm going to use it on the overload, which should be around here somewhere. As you can see, a champion has appeared, so I guess they don't spawn in at the start. I guess I was wrong about that. But nevertheless, the bots should start focusing on that overload and not the boss. The boss has teleported down, and so has the overload, which means it is bad news for me, as I have just used my grenade and the overload is still out there. It is going to be a little risky to try and see where he is without a grenade, so I just hang back and wait for my grenade to recharge. I push up for a little cheeky projectile hit on the boss and wait for the overload to come around the corner. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to come around the corner, so we'll have to go in there and sort of bait him out. He's probably occupied at the back of the room, probably, but I can't do much with this Hydra out of the way, so I will have to take some chunk out of this Hydra's health, which is unfortunate because the more damage you do to the Hydra, the more overloads will be in the room, which is not ideal, as you do not want to be dealing with more than 2 at once. Because the Hydra is blocking my path into the final boss room, I will pop my super, because I have no other choice to get him to move to the back of the room. Which of course is unfortunate, but I can't see any other option. So I use my super on him and get the hell out of there before he turns around. He does enough damage to teleport out and spawn the next wave of ads. Luckily, the champion didn't spawn in with those ads, which is a bonus. But you need to remember, after those ads have been defeated, the robots will target the boss / overload, causing more damage to the boss, and will spawn in that second overload, which is something that we don't want to deal with right now without taking out the first one. Eagle-eyed of you may have noticed that I have 0 revives all of a sudden. That is because it has gone past the 15-minute time limit. There is a time limit on these lost sectors. If you exceed that time limit, your score will continue to go down at a steady rate of 10 per second. You won't earn any more points, and you will not be able to revive anymore. Now here I'm in a bit of a sticky situation. A lot of the ads decided to come through all at once, and my grenade is nowhere near ready. So I will have to be very, very careful with this and take my time, meleeing a few, thinning the herd, and when my grenade is back, toss it in and clear out all those ads. That was a little bit scary for me, and I'm glad I got through that. There's a lot of arc pools, so we'll have to wait for them to dissipate before going back into the room, which is bad because I am wasting time and the boss is taking more and more damage by the second, and that overload is still in the room. As you can see, I'm trying to scout out where the overload is, and it looks like he's in the back, which is going to be a pain as the Hydra is in the back. I don't know how I'm going to get over there, but I end up doing some stealth tactics to try and get past the boss without him seeing me. Luckily it works, and I'm able to go through, and there is the overload right there. I do throw a grenade to try and get his attention, and I think I get his attention as he is teleporting quite rapidly. You'll know that you'll get his attention if he tries to teleport rapidly towards your location. I don't think I got him this time. Just double checking the Hydra there, and the overload is just up there. He should see me and start sprinting towards me, which makes me aware that he is actively following me, which is my cue to get out of the room before he kills me out in the open and go into this enclosed little area. Putting down a rift while I wait for my grenade to recharge. My super isn't quite ready yet, so I do waste a grenade trying to stun him, and I do miss the stun. He will try and teleport throughout the entire lost sector to try and get you. Luckily, I got too far away from him, so he stopped following me there. Now that my super is ready, I can take him out. I will have to stun him with a grenade first, so I will be running away, trying to hide while that grenade does recharge. He is actively chasing me, however, which is bad, and he does get dangerously close, which means I do have to run back quite a fair ways, but he seems to have just tapered off and gone back into his original position. What I didn't realize is that he was still on my sight, so I throw a grenade, get the lucky stun in, and take him out with my super. That was a close one, and I honestly thought I was toast there, because you always need to realize where those Minotaurs are, because they are very, very deadly, especially the Overload ones. And yeah, they could easily ruin your run. I don't know how, but the Hydra does see me, which means I will have to wait until he stops shooting. It could be a while before he does that. There's not really anything I can do with the AI. There isn't a way for him to stop shooting at me all of a sudden, so it's just a waiting game at this point until he focuses on something else. One thing to note, even if you do run away and come back, he will still try and shoot at you as if you never left that point. So just be really careful and only go when it's been about like 10 seconds since he last took his shot. And obviously approach with caution. It looks like he's stopped on my screen, so I'm going to peek forward and just see where he's at. He doesn't see me, which is good, and I will have to sneak past him in order to get some damage off to start the next sort of phase of ads. Get up to this little thing behind him, this little staircase. I got good cover here, which is really good, so I toss a grenade. I do miss and hit his shield, however, which isn't the end of the world because I am in good cover and he does not have a line of sight with me. As you can see, he's shooting somewhere completely different. I missed my melee there, and he does get a cheap shot on me, which means I will have to move somewhere else and try and find a different angle of attack. You also may notice that I am actually on my own now. All the robots have despawned, which means that I do have another set of ads to clear on my own, as well as having to finish off the boss on my own, which is kind of a downside to this, but I have to be super careful, and I do have some close calls. But right now everything is relatively calm. I'm just waiting for my grenades and my melee charges to refill, just to do that little bit of damage to the boss to tick him over to the next wave of ads, where I'll clear out the overload and clear multiple goblins with grenades and stuff like that. A lot of this challenge run is just waiting and trying to survive. Once you are at a good spot, it's normally just waiting. So now my grenade has nearly recharged. I'm going to have to try and go around because his shield is in completely the wrong place and I don't want to miss my grenade again. So I toss that, hit him, and something that I don't notice is that the ads do start to spawn in as I've done enough damage. I noticed the champion has appeared pop up and I basically bolt it out of the room before they can kill me. That was a pretty close call there. I didn't realise that they all spawn, so you just need to be careful about that. Now, there's only one more champion to deal with, and he's spawned in, so once we've taken out that overload, we just have the ads and the boss to kill. I have my super ready, however the boss is targeting the doorway, so I can't clearly get the overload or the ads to come through. I have to move them very slowly, very carefully without the boss hurting me. So I got one ad there. Did waste a grenade because I thought there was two, but unfortunately there was only one. Oh, fuck. No. And the overload comes at the worst possible time, as you can hear in my voice there, during the live recording, after I've just used my grenade. So I have to run out of that room, and I run further than usual just so he goes back. I'm fucking dead. But unfortunately he does not. He keeps following me up until that room, so I do have to go near to where I started the lost sector, which is kind of scary that he followed me all that way. He still spots me, but he is walking backwards now. So I try not to make the same mistake as I did with the last overload. And I do try and be very, very careful. It looks like he's teleported out of this room though, which I don't really trust because I feel like he could be behind me at any time. I do check my radar and see that there are enemies, but they are in the other room. However, I don't know that. So I do check that corner up there, just to be on the safe side, and it looks like it is all clear. So I head back into the room with my grenade ready and my super ready to take out that overload whenever he shows up again. He's currently hiding in the room. There he is. I've got his attention. He should start teleporting towards me. There we go. Shot the grenade.
Oh my god.
I nearly missed that, but there we go. We pull off the super and take him out. Woo! And you can tell by my live mic feed that I was very relieved that the final overload was defeated. So now it's just clearing the ads out and getting in to where I can defeat the boss now. So it's just a waiting game at this point for the boss to stop shooting and having to try and sneak around. I think that was the last ad, but I'm not too sure. The boss should be in the middle now, which is where he started. So I need to sneak in, and I do choose this little box here as it provides pretty good cover. Now I do need to alternate which side of the box that I'm standing on depending on where he's shooting. So I toss a few grenades in and melee him with the little projectile. I do have to move in between, as standing in the direct center of the box will still cause me to lose health, but obviously I can't go too far to either side as he will stop me and will try and shoot me and get me down. So there's nothing more to do than to chip away at his health now, very, very slowly, by being extremely careful, because if I die at this point it would mean a lot, and it would be really, really rough. So I'm just taking it very, very careful and trying not to die. But this is basically the home stretch. Unfortunately, our score is still going down at a rate of 20 now. Now that we're past 30 minutes, and spoiler alert, we do get the lowest score possible. But this wasn't about the score, this was about the challenge of it all. As we're slowly whittling down his health, I realized that I could have used my sword to peek round corners. However, I didn't really utilize that tactic a lot. And also it is kind of cheap, and it kind of counts as using a weapon, but the semantics are a little bit rough on that one. I do get a little bit scared, so I do put a rift down while I'm peeking to heal up. You may notice that my grenade is ready, however I'm not going to use it because I think for a challenge of this caliber, it would be really, really cool if I finished him with my super. So, well, I could end it right now. I waited just that little bit longer for my super to charge, just to finish him off and complete the challenge. And with that, we walk up to our chest and we find out that we don't get an exotic for all our hard labour and efforts. But we can answer that question: can we complete Bunker E15 without using weapons? And I think I can give a definitive answer of yes, you can complete without weapons. It takes a lot of time, patience, and a lot of grenades. Overall, this challenge was really fun to do. It was actually quite tougher than I thought it would be, but I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.